So here's Ruby. Hi, Ruby. How's it going? Yes, good morning. All right, let's continue. Our submittal process will discuss a small scenario of a school building under construction, and we are going to review a submittal for custom aluminum windows. It's a first steps between the contractor and the architect is they have already decided how often they'll meet. They've already decided how long it will take for a submittal review. The standard date sometimes is 2 weeks, 2 work weeks for the architect to send back the responses of a submittal. So the contractor, working with the window supplier, prepares the shop drawings, the material samples, if there's any aluminum finish and glass color, and any technical specifications. The contractor reviews this information to submit it to the architect. Then it goes to the architect's review, and the architect reviews the shop drawings and confirms that they match the design intent shown in the contract documents. The contract documents are the drawings and the specifications. They go hand in hand. One cannot live without the other. The architect notes any discrepancies. For example, the aluminum finish does not match the required sample that was specified in the drawings, or the architect checks for compliance of the window. What that means is really the glazing. There are standards that we have to keep regarding the climate zone of that project. They have to meet certain standards for thermal performance and the glazing type. There are certain glazing types that we have to follow for code reasons and the safety standards for people. The architect will respond to the submittal as revise and resubmit if it's not the correct color or if it's not the correct proper thermal response. The architect will respond back to the contractor and marks the submittal as revise and resubmit if the submittal does not meet all the standards that need to be provided. For example, the aluminum finish must match the specified finish that was in the finish schedule, or the thermal performance of the window glazing is not to the standard of the code. Then we have to ensure that that glazing has to meet the U value of that thermal performance. And we'll talk about U value later in our series of construction administration. The contractor then revises and resubmits that submittal that was revised and resubmit and consults with the supplier to make sure that all the notes that the architect provided can be identified and corrected before they go into manufacturing of that window. The contractor will resubmit an updated shop drawing with the revised material sample and the compliance letter from the supplier, because the supplier is the one that sometimes is communicating with the manufacturer of that window. It all depends on the brand of window that you're picking. Sometimes your supplier and your manufacturer are the same people. Sometimes it's not. But in any case, the final review by the architect, they receive the revised drawings from the submittal and confirms it completes all the contract requirements from their drawings. They mark it as approved as noted. So as architects, we have a high responsibility to make sure that this design intent is obtained, but also that we meet the standards of the code. Approved and execution is terminated. The final architect review, the architect receives the revised submittal and confirms it complies with all the contract documents, meaning all the drawings and specifications that we have provided. The final item is approval and execution of that submittal. So now the contractor has the green light to go ahead and talk to their supplier or their manufacturer to start the production of the windows so that they can then have lead time of how long it will take to receive that that material and provide even more detail into their time schedule. Well, that's pretty much does it. Submittals are a lot of work for both the contractor and the architect. Well, there it is. That's submittal process for the architect and the contractor. It is a great step in the progress of the project. We must take close attention to the code. We also have to take attention to the design intent, the color, the size of it. The contractor is responsible to make sure that the rough openings of the windows will be to par according to the manufacturing of that window. Normally, the manufacturer will tell you what is the rough opening that they have to provide for a window. Meaning some window manufacturers like to have a 1 inch or a 1/2 inch of chims to make sure that their window can be squared and can be installed properly. Also, you have to take into account the waterproofing for that window. That's one of the areas where water can penetrate and actually disrupt the age of your building. If you have a window that was not installed properly, you can have a lot of water leaks and destroyed part of that assembly of the wall. So submittals are of importance, not just for manufacturing, but also for installation. Normally, the submittal will show all the steps that need to be taken to install the window. That would be in the manufacturer's information. And normally in the specifications, you can find this information. Normally, you can find the information of the submittals and installation in one of the parts of the specifications. And I'll go over more on that. And for now, you can download a specification for Windows from a known manufacturer of windows so that you can see what does it look like and what are the samples. Later on in our series of construction administration, we will go over and dissect one of those submittals. Now, let's find Ruby. Hey, Ruby, where are you? She's climbing up a hill.